Alright, what is up, boys and girls? Welcome back to another video. As always, thank you very much for joining me here today for another daily stock market update. Please do like and subscribe, leave a comment down below. And as always, if you do want to get some hand-picked high potential stocks for the week, make sure to add my personal WhatsApp and Telegram down below in the description, so you can get involved there with the investing. So we're just taking a quick look at some news then before we begin. You can see the main piece of news today, as always. At the minute, the stock market is up. The Dow Jones, S&P 500, Nasdaq futures climb on a huge week of market watched event rolls on. We've had quite a few good bullish pieces of news going into this week over the weekend to do with tariffs, with the European Union being resolved in favour of the US, which is obviously leading to an increase in the US stock market in general. Lots of bullish sentiment across the stock market. You can see US stock futures edged higher on Tuesday as Wall Street prepared to fresh earnings and economic data amid a blockbuster week that could shake markets. You can see everything's up and continuing to go up over the past few days. Stocks are consolidating after the S&P 500 and Nasdaq eked out in record highs again on Monday. After that, as I said, new trade deal between the US and the European Union, which was good to see. If we take a look at the charts, you'll be able to see quite clearly here. Taking a look at the S&P 500, you can see we did eke out a new high overnight, another gap to the upside. Obviously that new week opening gap was very, very bullish. You can see we came down, obviously filled that gap, and now we're looking like we're going to be coming back up again. Very, very likely to come up and make a new high this week. To be honest, we have got a lot of red folder news across the market to be aware of. Lots and lots of red folder news for the US in general to do with the economic state of the country. So do be careful to make sure that you don't get caught out by any of the crazy swings that we're probably going to see. But overall, I do think there's likely to be quite a good amount of volatility this week for the S&P 500. You can see massive new week opening gap, grinded up to a new high. We came down for a retrace and now bouncing back up again towards the all-time high again, as you would expect. Overall, the S&P 500, if you zoom out here on the hourly time frame, has been just an indomitable march to the upside over the past, well, really ever since we came down for that huge crash for all the tariff wars that we saw at the start of the year. Ever since then, back up to a new high and looking stronger than ever, to be honest, in terms of the S&P 500 and its general strength. The US economy looking very strong at the minute. You can see we've got earnings season coming around. Boeing here and Starbucks reports for watching of turnarounds underway, while Spotify is expected to issue cautious guidance in its results. Tuesday's economic docket, JOLTS job openings for June, is set to land. As I said, there's going to be lots and lots of big events happening this week. You can see the Federal Reserve's meeting and its next move on interest rates, which is going to massively affect where we are going forward for the next month or so. I do think in terms of, are we going to be super bullish or are we going to stagnate or even get a little bit of a crash, to be honest. And then also, as you can see, tech giants Apple, Amazon and Microsoft and Meta all have earnings as well. So really, really interesting stuff. You can see for the charts for the S&P 500, I think we're just going to continue up here, to be honest. I don't see any signs of slowing down, if I'm being completely honest. And you can see, if you look across the board here, we'll just take a look at what's going on with some of our big stocks. You can see Nvidia here coming up and making new highs yet again, massively up in pre-market on the hourly time frame yet again here, as you can see. And this is off the back of news regarding Nvidia stock on track for a fresh peak again after reportedly earning 300k H20 AI chips from TSMC. Optimism continuing to grow. The bubble for Nvidia continuing to increase. You can see as Nvidia's China headwinds begin to abate, the Jensen Huang company could see a surge in demand for its products in this key market. A Reuters report citing two sources has said Apple has placed orders for 300,000 H20 chips with its contract manufacturer and foundry, Taiwan Semiconductor, as we know. One of the sources told the media outlet that the orders came in response to signs from rising demand for Nvidia's chips in China. You can see there is an incredible amount of demand for AI stocks right now, or anything related to AI, and you can see this is very much reflected in Nvidia's price. Massively up $3 in pre-market already today. As you can see, we are just continuing an indomitable march to the upside, just like a lot of other stocks have been since this V-shaped recovery has happened. New all-time highs and really just continuing here, as I said, going into uncharted territory, and we're waiting to see how long this lasts before we do continue. Maybe get a little bit of a pullback. Let's see what happens next. Tesla's still in a bit of a weird spot. You can see obviously it missed on earnings and had that big drop to the downside. But you can see here, A $16.5 billion chip deal could help shape Tesla's next era. But what about this one? The shares of Tesla climbed higher on Monday after we did have that dip before, as you can see. We gained 3% on market close, but it jumped as much as 5% earlier in the day. Spike comes after the S&P 500 was flat and the Nasdaq rose 0.3%. You can see they signed a major deal with Samsung to manufacture its next gen A16 AI6 chips. You can see this big deal has obviously been putting in some positive sentiment for Tesla, because as I said, anything related to AI at the minute does have a bump to the upside. Tesla's still in a bit of a weird spot here because it did miss on earnings here. As you can see, on this, it's actually saying that the earnings was up, but it did miss on its reported earnings and therefore had a bit of a drop. You can see still in a bit of a weird spot here, kind of coiling up into a bit of a bull flag like this. By the way, if you want to learn more about chart patterns like this, you can sign up to the WhatsApp or the Telegram down below, where you can get some more information on how to trade these kinds of patterns. As you can see, we're kind of coiling up right now, and I would expect this probably comes back to the upside pretty soon. Overall, Tesla, as I said, in a weird spot, like a lot of other stocks have been. Just taking a quick look at why Microsoft has been doing so well here as well. You can see Azure AI growth, which is obviously Microsoft's AI division. It makes up Microsoft a buy ahead of Q4 earnings. You can see the fourth quarter fiscal 2025 results scheduled to be reported on the 30th of July are likely to be driven by steady growth in its cloud platform Azure. It's positioned itself for another strong quarterly performance as the company continued to capitalize on the AI revolution through the fourth quarter of the fiscal 2025 year, despite facing competitive pressure from the AI space from tech giants. Basically, everyone's cashing in on the AI revolution right now, but Microsoft's stock has been doing incredibly well as a result. A quick look at it here will show you that we have basically just been continuously pumping to the upside after this massive gap pump to the upside here for Microsoft, and just continuing to the upside in line with the rest of all the AI stocks, to be honest. Very similar to Nvidia here as well. And you could argue that Meta is also probably part of this as well. All of them doing exceptionally well. Right now, the whole of the market looking like we're probably going to be heading back to all-time highs across the board. Lots and lots of interesting news as well going on. Right now, there's not much else to talk about today, so I'm going to wrap things up there, guys. If you do want to get more information, like I said, please do go down in the description below, get in touch via WhatsApp and Telegram. Like and subscribe and leave a comment down below. Let me know your questions and thoughts, and I'll catch you in the next video. Cheers.